Morning students, today I am going to take a class on blood grouping. Now, what is blood grouping? Blood grouping is based on a group of antigens present on the RBC surface, which are genetically, chemically and reactively equal antigen present on the RBC surface of a person. That means a person having a blood group will have an antigen throughout his RBC surface which are genetically, chemically and reactively same all are. Okay. Now blood grouping is basically what we know, what you will have to understand. Basically of two types, ABO and PAS. Okay. These are the main two, but there are other blood groups also, like the Mn blood grouping, the Duffy blood grouping, Cotton blood grouping, and there are so many others. Okay, these are for basically research purposes. For all practical purposes, we will be concentrating on ABO and RBC. Now let us come to ABO first. ABO blood grouping. That means there are three types of blood group. Sorry, there are three types of antigen: A, B, and O. On the basis of presence of these three antigens, the person is designated as either of group A or group B or group AB or group O. Okay. So what are ABO? Now ABO grouping is based on one singular antigen, that is the H antigen. Okay. Now H antigen is a complex polysaccharide. This is the structure of H antigen. This is the RBC. This is a complex polysaccharide having fucose as the terminal sugar. Now this fucose, in case of blood group A, this glucose is added with N-acetyl glucosamine. N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay. This becomes A antigen. Okay. Where along with glucose there is N-acetyl glucosamine. Similarly, in case of B, what happens? The terminal sugar along with glucose, there is galactose. Those you will be taught in a theoretical class later in beta teachers. So this is B antigen. Now what happens in case of blood group O is H antigen remains unaltered. So the person having A antigen is designated as blood group A. The person having B antigen on the surface of RBC is designated as blood group B, and the person having H antigen, rather don't get confused, no A or no B antigen is known as blood group O. Clear? So then what is AB? Blood group AB. Blood group persons having blood group AB is having both the A antigen and the B antigen on the RBC surface. Okay. So this is only A antigen. This is only B antigen. This is no A or B antigen, but in reality only the H antigen. Okay. So these are the four types of blood group you should be concerned about. Okay. Now, then what is Rh blood group? And we will be coming to that later. Now this is antigen. What about the antibody? Antibody are gamma globulin present in the blood. Simple. Okay. So antigens are complex polysaccharides. Antibody is gamma globulin. A particular antibody is produced against a particular antigen and they, when comes together in touch, will form a agglutination reaction. That is the basis of blood grouping reaction. Okay. So what happens? Now here comes a person named Landsteiner. Landsteiner, first described in 1900, which is known as Landsteiner doctrine 1, is that a person having a particular blood group won't be having the corresponding antibody in the plasma. What it means? That a person having blood group A or antigen A or agglutinogen A, okay, or alpha antigen, whatever you call it, won't be having anti-A antibody in the plasma. Otherwise, what would have happened? The blood was clotted altogether in the person's blood. So this is the basis of life. A person having a particular group of antigen won't be having the corresponding antibody in the blood. This is Landsteiner rule number 1. Now, reciprocally, if we say that a person having a particular group of antibody in the plasma won't be having the corresponding antigen in the, just the opposite, okay? This is Landsteiner rule number 2. But there comes an exception in case of Rh blood grouping. When Landsteiner wrote those 2 rules, he wasn't aware of the Rh or rhesus antigen, which he, along with Weiner, in 1940 discovered. What he did, that he took blood from the rhesus monkey, put the blood in the rabbit, and then he cross-checked the blood with human donor, cross-checked the plasma of the rabbit. Now, rabbit will be having anti-rhesus antibody. We are saying anti-rhesus antibody. So, rabbit will be having anti-rhesus antibody in the plasma. He cross-checked that plasma with human blood and saw that in 85% cases agglutination occurs. What does that mean? The human blood was having rhesus antibody in the blood, rhesus antigen in the blood, which reacted with the anti-rhesus antibody which Landsteiner and Weiner took from the rabbit. So they came to a conclusion that there is another very important blood group called the rhesus blood group. Now rhesus blood group are of C, D, E type. Among these D, this is dominant. Okay. So whatever we are telling about the rhesus antibody, we represent it with P antigen. Okay. Either the Rh antigen or the P antigen, which is the prominent one. So a person, how do we depict the person blood group? It's not only A. We say A positive. Now this positive means he is having the D antigen in the blood. Okay. AB negative means, A negative means this person doesn't have the E antigen in the blood. So basically, we as a human being have 2 major antigen in the blood. We have or we have. Either it can be A or it can be B or it can be both A and B, and O positive persons are having only the antibodies in the blood, no antigen, but along with either we are having D antigen or we don't have. If we have D antigen, we become positive. If we do not have D antigen in the blood, we become negative. So this is the basis of the blood grouping. Now why D antigen is important? Number one is for blood transfusion. If we transfuse a person of a blood, Rh negative blood with a Rh positive person, what happens? The person is having, suppose the person is AB positive and we are transfusing him with AB negative. Now this person is having the D antigen and this person is having the D antibody, anti-D antibody. So there will be a agglutination reaction which is very fatal. So that's why one of the major importance of D antigen is blood transfusion, and number two is pregnancy. Why pregnancy is important? See, during the pregnancy what happens? There is the mother and the child. Okay, mother and the child, they are having separate vascular system during maturation. So if a mother is Rh negative, see, the mother is Rh negative and the baby is Rh positive. So what happens? Now we know another thing is that antibodies are not normally antigen dependent progression. What I meant to say, that during the time of birth antibodies are not present. Antibodies are present 2 to 3 months after birth by ingestion of or coming in contact with pollen or bacteria which will be having the antibodies, and the child will ingest or come in contact with those antigen and produce the reciprocate antibody in the blood. So antibodies are not produced at the birth. So this person, the baby, while having positive Rh positive, doesn't have Rh negative and Rh antibody in the blood, but somehow suppose during the passage a little bit of blood from the baby goes to the mother. Okay, now baby goes to the mother. So what happens? Mother being negative is receiving a little bit of Rh positive blood. So what the mother will have? Mother will have Rh anti-D antibody in the first pregnancy. What is the consequence of pregnancy in a Rh negative mother having Rh positive body, positive baby? That she will develop a little bit of anti-D antibody in her blood. Now in subsequent pregnancy again, so what happens in the first pregnancy? The baby is Rh positive. Suppose a little bit of mother's blood also goes to the baby. Baby doesn't have any antibody whatever together. So it won't be any problem to the first pregnancy, because antibodies are not formed during first pregnancy at the time of pregnancy. Okay. So the first baby will be safe, but the mother is having anti-D antibody, whatever little amount it is. Now during the subsequent pregnancy, if the baby is again positive, so what will happen? If a little bit of mother blood goes to the baby, the blood will have anti-Rh antibody in the case of second pregnancy, and the baby is already having Rh antigen in the blood, the second baby. So there will be blood reaction or the cross reaction in the second baby, and this is known as the hemolytic disease of the newborn. This is very important, known as the hemolytic disease of the newborn, which can be of three types. Number one is hydrops fetalis. We will taught about all those things later. Just remember those names. You can be asked about these questions. Number two is erythroblastosis fetalis. Blastosis fetalis. And number three is carnivorous, which are all features of blood incompatibility in case of pregnancy. Okay. So, what we can be clear that first pregnancy generally doesn't have any complication as the baby doesn't have any antibody, but the second pregnancy, the baby having positive antigen in the body gets contact with the anti-Rh antibody from the mother, and then the reaction occurs, which is known as the hemolytic disease of the newborn. So we have seen from the practical video demonstration that we have commercially three preparations available. One is anti-A serum, one is anti-B serum, and one is anti-T serum. They are commercially available preparation. Okay. How do you do that? How do you get that? So what are they? They are basically antibodies. Now A, anti-sera A is having anti-A antibody, anti-B sera is having anti-B antibody, and anti-D sera is having anti-T antibody. How are they made? They are commercially made. We extract a plasma cell. Suppose a person of group A will be having antibody B in his plasma. So we take a plasma cell, we fuse that, and we culture it with a myeloma cell, which are easy to reproduce, and then we clone the myeloma cells to get the commercial preparation. This is the basis. Okay. So what happens basically? This is the statistics that in general statistics, 42% of our people is having 42% is having A blood group, 9% is having B blood group, 3% AB blood group, and 46% O blood group. Okay. Now blood group A is having antigen in RBC. See, there are several columns. Antigen in RBC. A blood group is having A antigen. So they will be having, according to Landsteiner law, anti-B antibody. Similarly, B antigen will be having anti-A antibody in the plasma. AB group will be having nil antibody in the plasma. They are having both A and B antigen in the RBC, and O blood group no antigen. So there will be both anti-A and anti-B antibody. Okay. So what happens if we cross react them, which is known as the forward grouping, which we generally do. What is forward grouping? Forward grouping, we take the donor RBC, the person who is going to donate the blood, and we treat it with the lab preparation, those anti-A, anti-B and anti-D serum. Okay. Now with anti-A, the reaction is getting positive, so the person is having A antigen in the blood, the person is of blood group A. Similarly, in case of anti-B getting positive, the person will be having B antigen in the blood, so he will be B positive. So you can jolly well understand that in case of AB blood group, it will have precipitation with both anti-A and anti-B serum, and in case of O blood group, there won't be any precipitation. Okay. Got it? So this is the, and there is also one thing called reverse grouping, where donor plasma plus lab preparation are mixed. So there the donor plasma will be having A cell and B cell. Now A cell, suppose it is blood group A, so as they are having A cell, they won't be having B A antibody won't be having any reaction with SL here. Okay. Similarly, you can interpret the results like this. This is a reverse grouping. So, if it becomes positive in forward grouping, and these are the things, it can be either A or AB. Okay. So, similarly, it is positive in anti-sera or anti-B, so it can be B or AB. Okay. Now, if it becomes positive with both the things, anti-A, anti-B, then it is AB, and it is getting no reaction whatsoever, as they don't have any antigen. This is blood group O. Okay. Now again, a little bit of trick is that why ABO incompatibility is less serious than RH incompatibility. Now ABO group are of IgM type. Here cold type, okay, and they are of IgM type. These two are important. Now being IgM type, they do not cross the placental barrier or the fetal barrier. Okay. So in case of blood transfusion reaction or the blood incompatibility reaction, what has to happen? The mother blood should be mixed with the fetal blood, which is not possible in case of ABO group, as they are of IgM type. So ABO incompatibility is very less in nature. But RH group or the rhesus group or the B group, the antigen is of IgG type. Here lies the main thing, and they can cross the placental barrier, the fetal barrier, the blood-brain barrier. So they can easily cross react in whatever situation, and they are the warm type, generally occurs at the body temperature. These reactions occurs at the body temperature. So we are clear that ABO incompatibility is less dangerous than the RH incompatibility because of the structure of the immunoglobulin. Okay. Now another question you should ask me, how this reaction occurs? Now for every single antigen, ABO antigen, they are having 7 spikes. Okay. And all these spikes will individually connect to a single IVC, and they will, if they have the corresponding antigen, they will have this particular antibody will have all the 7 cells, and that will produce the precipitation reaction or agglutination reaction. First, this is called sensitization, the first process of the reaction, and second is agglutination, where the proteolytic enzyme comes into contact and destroys the RBC, release the hemoglobin. Okay, this is in nutshell the blood incompatibility reaction. And in case of RH antibody, there are 2 spikes. They form the precipitation reaction in a small form. Now again, as we have shown in the slide, the reaction, if it becomes positive, denotes of a particular group. If it becomes negative, denotes of a particular group. Now it can be false positive also. Where can it be false positive? If we give little amount of the sample, the blood, what we have taken on the slide, can have a rouleau formation under the microscope, which can look like a precipitation reaction. Now how do we clear that? We tilt the slide 3 to 4 times, and we will see that the rouleau will get dispersed. Okay, so this is called the false positive reaction, where giving an excess amount of blood will produce rouleau formation. Equally, what is false negative reaction? If we give the antisera which is expiring date, that particular antisera will lose its potency and just because of the change in pH and other things, it will lose the, it won't be having the reaction which you want. Okay. Now these are all about blood grouping then, as we have shown you in the slide, and just a little bit anecdote that what we do about the blood grouping, why it is important. So it is important for storage of blood. Now why blood storage is necessary? Why blood transfusion is given? To counteract acute blood loss in case of any road traffic accident or whatever it is, any chronic blood loss, people having chronic anemia and all those things, any bone marrow disease, bone marrow suppression. Now our blood, whole blood is the whole component? No. Whole blood is not the only component which we transfuse. We can transfuse a particular component of blood which can be separated from the whole blood, like factor 8, factor 10 and all those things. Now how do we store a blood? Generally 450 ml of blood is stored in a single transfusion, and it is preserved with CPDA, citrate phosphate, dextrose, adenine. Citrate preserves the blood, phosphate preserves the pH, dextrose preserves the nutrition, and adenine produces the source of ATP production. Generally it is stored for 20 days. It should be transfused within 20 days, and once it has been taken out of the freezer, the blood or the collected blood should be used within 3 hours. Okay. Now this is in nutshell about blood grouping and blood typing. It's a huge chapter. I have given you a bird's eye view on the things about antigen and antibody, how the reaction occurs, why it is important, which are the main important blood groups, and how do we perform the experiment, how do we store the blood, and what are the possible complications of a mismatched blood transfusion. Okay, and if you have any questions, you can always ask me.